Hello and welcome, everyone, to the Monsters.
All I did was look up.
Well, Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. We'll just keep that in. Editing Matt, don't take that out. The one who looked up is our co-host here.
Chaotic.
And I'm Silver. Today's creature is a Kamaitachi.
A Tamagotchi?
Not a Tamagotchi. You don't want to keep one of these in your pants.
Oh my lord.
It's a Kamaitachi. Kamaitachi.
Okay, so definitely not the same.
No. In other translations, it kind of translates out to Sickle Weasel. So like I said, you don't want to keep one of these in your pants.
I mean, ask Draco Malfoy, you might.
It's true, he did get a weasel in his pants, didn't he, in the movie? In the book.
Technically a ferret, but we're close enough.
Ferrets are weasels. They're a Mustidae family. Mustidae? Mustidae, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. But do you know anything about the Kamaitachi?
I mean, considering I thought it was a Tamagotchi, I'm gonna go with no.
You've probably seen him, though, in video games.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Any type of fantasy video games usually have them in it. They are a weasel, but their fur is like that of hedgehogs. They sound like dogs. They sometimes fly through the air with wings or on wind currents. And they attack people with their limbs, which are made of either swords, sickles, or razor blades. So just picture a weasel with arms that are sickles, or knives, and their legs that are knives.
I'm picturing a whole flying squirrel coming at me with katanas.
Yes.
That's what I'm picturing.
You don't really have to worry about them too much, because they are still the size of squirrels, except their blades can cut you without you even noticing being cut. Till a little bit later, once you do notice a cut, it'll hurt extremely bad.
So they're just walking paper cuts.
Yes. When you come across them, you won't find just one. They come in packs of 3. Tribunals? They come 3 at a time.
The jokes that wanted to come out of my mouth. 3's a bad number, just in general, so these guys are just assholes. Triads? No. I feel like they're a cult.
They're also tricksters, tricky little foxes, or tricky little weasels. Because what they do to you is the first Kamaitachi will come over and knock you down. The second one will come through and cut you all up. Then the third one will come through and heal you. The third one carries some sort of healing salve with it, or licks you and heals you that way.
I retract my previous statement. They're Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
Gone is also accurate representation because in some districts of where they're located, some of them are invisible and they're also super speedy, so you never even notice them. Some say they're as fast as the wind. Do you know those dust devils that come around, or the twirling dust tornadoes? That is where they ride through. So if you stand in one of those, you're more likely to come across them.
Not me thinking about where I can go find one to test the theory.
Come to my work. They're always there.
You would have flying knife squirrels, weasels, at your work. Not Songbird making many signs to be part of the discussion.
This episode of Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem was recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Yay! The sound effects.
You know, like with any other type of creature in Japanese folklore, mythology, yokais. There's a way to summon them to you. Can you guess what the Kamaitachis is?
Please enlighten me.
Stepping on a calendar.
Stepping on a calendar.
In certain regions of Japan, where they're said that the Kamaitachi is to do the work for evil gods. So if you step on a calendar, the evil gods will send calamity or send the Kamaitachi to you. And there's also a way to send them away.
Okay.
You burn the calendar black and apply it to your wounds. That's also said to help heal faster.
I feel like this is almost Ouija board-esque level dedication with the calendar.
Oh, that's not the only thing that happens with the calendar. There was another thing. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah. In western parts of Japan, the Kamaitachi is said to slice off people's skin, and there is no pain the instant after it scrapes off. But after a while, a hard-to-bear pain and bleeding would start to occur, and is said to protect against this, you gotta obtain an old calendar in your hand.
It's a lot of dedication.
It's a lot of calendars.
It is a lot of calendars.
I mean, I think most people usually use smartphones for their calendars nowadays. I don't have a calendar in my room. I just wonder if you step on your smartphone calendar, if it works the same.
I feel like it's not the same.
What about one of those little prop calendars, or the ones you get from the street fairs and stuff they hand out with their religious books?
Yeah, possibly. Those might fly because they're like a physical form.
And to add insult to injury, kind of when the Kamaitachi comes and knocks you down, cuts you up, and heals you, there is a chance they will steal all the food that you're carrying.
See, I wasn't gonna fight him, but now I gotta fight him because you don't touch my food.
A lot of people will say that the Kamaitachi kind of came around either through kids playing around and not wanting to tell their parents how they got hurt, or drunk people falling outside of parties or falling on their way to places and not remembering how they got hurt and just kind of blaming it on the Kamaitachi.
Yeah, because the drunk guy stumbles out of the bar and they're like, "Man, how did you hit your head?" And he's like, "This fucking flying squirrel came out of nowhere. He had razor blades attached to his hands." Like, it sounds legit.
In more modern day Japan, the Kamaitachi has lost a lot of its cultural influence. I'm not sure if that's due to the lack of calendars or just people being able to actually explain how you got scrapes and cuts.
The lack of calendars. It's gone down with the sales. There's not as many coming around.
But it has been gaining more popularity in animes and mangas and other movies and video games. They have some in Final Fantasy, Sneasel and Weavile from Pokemon. They're weasels with razor claws. The attack move Razor Wind in Pokemon. And its Japanese name is Kamaitachi. In the anime Naruto, Tamari has a giant fan, and when she uses it, it summons a couple Kamaitachis. They're just weasels that hold sickles. That's another thing. The Kamaitachi has been depicted in various different ways, but it's always a weasel holding something sharp. Whether its limbs are sharp, whether it's a small weasel with sickles or swords on its back.
So it's Songbird.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah, it seems pretty accurate. Small, tiny, flying, angry being coming at you with a sharp object. I think pretty accurate. Perhaps Ruby? If Ruby's listening, seems like a semblance there too.
Oh yeah. Except she probably hurt herself as well.
Well, you know, maybe she's the healer one.
She can just have the salve and heal people on the way back there. Sorry, here you go. Fly off. Stealing their food.
So, like, in order, it would be Nex would be the one knocking them out. Songbird would be the one cutting them up. And then Ruby would follow suit and just heal.
Yes.
110%.
Oh, there's also a song called Kamaitachi. As well as a artist called Kamaitachi. And there's several other podcasts and kind of talk about it like us.
I'll definitely be having to look further into these little guys when we're done here, because they sound pretty great.
The artwork is perfect. You see just like these little weasel sharks that has their just kind of flying on whirlwinds.
It sounds great.
The knives are the fins, and there's also some Yu-Gi-Oh cards that have the picture of a flying weasel with sickles. That's also the Kamaitachi.
It doesn't surprise me from Yu-Gi-Oh.
There's a little bit of everything in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because they even got like Nordic beasts, which are North monsters.
Yep, they got harpies, they got dragons, they got everything.
They even recently partnered with Star Wars. There's actually a Star Wars set.
Imagine me being a Yu-Gi-Oh fan and a Star Wars fan and not being aware.
But it's not really partnered together. They just kind of took the representations of certain Star Wars aspects and put them in Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like they got droids and starfighters, but they didn't technically call them. Probably not to
It's still neat though.
Yeah. Probably didn't want to get on Disney's bad side. Shall we move on to the mayhem?
Yes.
Mayhem-wise, I think they'd cause a lot if they were more active. Just running up, cutting people up. Everybody'd have cool scars all over the place. I mean, sometimes some people might die if you had, like, extreme bleeding syndrome.
Yeah, they would be, regardless of, like, their tiny size and, like, the non-lethal threat they pose, they would just be a lot.
If you had a whole, I think 3 wouldn't be bad, but if you had like 30 of them, I wonder if they'd have like gang wars within themselves to see who can steal each other's food the most.
Well, see, I was about to say, like, if they go over 3, do they get volatile?
I'm not sure. I've seen some animes where there's one that goes rogue and just starts killing people, and the other 2 are trying to stop it. I'm not sure if there'd be a pack of 30.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I feel like there'd be like issues among that. I feel like they wouldn't get along.
I think they would. I think depends on what type of weasels. Like ferrets cozy okay with each other, or are they solitary?
They seem okay with each other. Like, I've never seen more than like 4 or 5 together. I can't imagine that like 10 or more of them would get along, because they're pretty deviant.
Yeah, because meerkats aren't weasels. They're not part of the same family.
Right, but they run in like huge packs.
Yeah. The sea otters are.
I do know for a fact that otters can be assholes.
But they also run in bigger groups. I think sea otters are.
I thought otter groups didn't get big.
Yeah, family Mustelidae. Yeah. So they're part of the same group as weasels, ferrets, wolverines, badgers.
Not the badger.
So I'd imagine like sea otters being the water version of the Kamaitachi.
Yeah.
Razor blades in the water.
Water razor blades.
But yeah, like you said, I think they're probably more solitary combined to their groups of 3, their little families.
I think so too.
I don't think you need to call on military assistance though for them.
No, they're not military assistance wise. I feel like hunters would try and maybe hunt them at some point. That kind of thing. I don't think there'd be military assistance needed for sure, but they would definitely be a nuisance. They'd be annoying. They'd be a damper on your day. Can you imagine just getting out of your car trying to mind your fucking business? And these guys are like, let me fuck your day up real quick. So, like, you know, they would just be annoying.
Oh, yeah. Especially they'd probably be targeting all the Uber Eats drivers. Like, oh, yeah, this guy's got a bunch of Chinese food. They'll just knock him down, steal all his food.
And then the Uber Eats and the DoorDash people have to explain that it was in fact a katana wielding, bless your entire body. It was a katana wielding squirrel with like flying abilities, and then it was a weasel, and Silver has broken everything by sneezing, so please just hang on a second.
Send this away. I'll fix it later.
0 out of 5 stars.
Not a very graceful sneeze.
Well, I don't think we were rating your sneeze. We were rating the DoorDash driver that got jacked. But yeah, your sneeze was like a 10 out of 10. You exploded the entire room. I don't know what happened, but it's like your soul left your body. We witnessed.
Okay, so back to the DoorDash drivers. I don't think the boss would take that excuse very well. Unless it is a known issue. They'd probably start coming up with certain types of sprays to keep them away. I don't know if there'd be anything. Maybe you just keep a calendar on you. The driver's got to keep a calendar in hand at all times.
Yeah.
Start handing out calendars with your lunches. Why is a calendar? Oh, you know, just to keep the weasels away.
They're gonna jack you. They're just gonna straight up jack your shit. You're gonna say peanut butter and you're instantly just like 5 of them on you. I'm sorry, 6. That's an inaccurate depiction. They're having gang wars over your head. 3 of them come in from one side, the other 3 from the other side. They're fighting over the peanut butter. It's a bloody massacre right over you. And they knocked you out and just trying to steal your food. Thousands of paper cuts.
I wonder how they pick stuff up to eat, or if they just. I just saw something kind of. If they were the Kamaitachis that have the swords for arms and legs, mating might get dangerous.
Mating and eating and functioning. I was gonna say when they wipe their butt, but they're animals. They probably don't. They probably don't.
It comes out as little pellets. Like
advanced
deers.
enough to slice us to pieces, not advanced enough to use a toilet.
Yeah, they could be weaponized like that if you can catch them. Delivery companies use them against other delivery companies.
We're just starting gang wars everywhere. Papa John's gonna release him inside Domino's. It's gonna be bloody.
Only if you release 2. If you release 3, they'll get healed. It'll be okay.
True. We got to keep Ruby away from the vicinity.
I wonder if there's a physical difference between the 3 of them. I've seen them drawn differently. It's been a fun little creature compared to our last kind of spooky Wendigo.
Yeah, this was an interesting creature for sure.
Stick, knife, medkit. Sounds like a bad game of rock, paper, scissors.
It does.
Where nobody wins, because no one wants to be the healer. I guess we'll move on with the shoutouts.
Yeah! Shouting out. Getting hype. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Getting hype. Silver's just staring at me. There's no shoutouts happening.
The shoutouts are going to go to Thor. Ruby. And Mondi. Yeah. Thank you for being patrons.
Yeah, thanks for doing things. Woo! Yeah. Let's go.
Woo woo. Thanks everybody for listening through the entire thing. We'll move on to Chaotic with the Weather, or the outro.
With the weather, it's shitty outside.
It's sunny.
I said it's shitty. Okay?
God, you're the weather lady.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, it's gotta be an inaccurate depiction or I'm not a real weather person, okay? Join us again next Monday on Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem, found on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Anchor.fm. Silver and Chaotic talk about how monsters and myths came to be and how they would be received in modern-day society. Follow, like, and subscribe to support. Also find the podcast on Twitter and Discord with links below to keep up with the dates with the newest merchant activity. Besides, who knows what mayhem we will get into next. I hate it here. I quit.
I can just mute myself and I can cut my part out.
The audacity. So it's just me going, thanks.
Please leave a review.
Yeah, not on my Michael Jackson sounds, though.